having led the life that you've led so far and experienced the things that you have, that in Civvy Street and that of not in Civvy Street, what are you bringing, from all of your experiences of both sides of that? What are you bringing to this? What is the mix that you've created between the process and the magic of working with you? What is it that's going to get people to say, this is the right man and the right package for me? What is it that's there?
Yeah, okay. So having, as we mentioned before, my life's been around working with high-performing autonomous teams. And the reason why we've had autonomous high-performing teams that work alongside a main force or a larger organization is because we've always needed some widgets. And we've never had up till now, as we enter the fourth revolution, that's changing, fourth industrial revolution, but we haven't quite got to widgetizing humans where necessary on routine tasks. Throughout history, talk about Alexander the Great and his cavalry, there was always these egalitarian units that had higher levels of trust and were more committed and were cohesive and able to take part in decisive actions. And the military talk about mission command, they call it, which is pushing the power down to the people. And so I kind of took some of that stuff, having obviously been in that situation, and then created teams around the world that worked alongside organizations, but that were concerned with security. So they had to think on their feet. And communication is always a big one on that. And also we know about communication radios and stuff like that. The idea of using technology to communicate is very important in military and in organizations. But so there's that side of it. And I broke the process down when I got into psychology. And so my whole mission, if you like, is to make teamwork and leadership really simple to understand and easy to learn. And so this is what I've done with this process. When I got challenged once in a boardroom by one of my by a mentor to sort of say, well, have you got any ideas about how they can come to a decision in this boardroom? I was like, caught in the headlights, and said something really daft like, oh, ring a bell, And I thought, well, I'm never getting caught out like that again. So that's when I put this thing together. Now then, the three core skills that any team need are to be able to make great decisions, think creatively, be creatively brilliant, which means come up with a creative idea. Loads of people are creative, but actually bring it into existence. So what's the process for doing that? And to be able to collaborate powerfully. We know that with research now, they kind of say, right, well, collective intelligence is just as good as having a lone genius. So there's not many lone geniuses. So make a team be able to collaborate really, really well together. So you need a way of doing that. And one of the problems for that, as I researched it and reflected on it, was the fact that simple rules in groups create synergy. So then we have the formation of starlings. They're all moving in the right direction. And then as I got into other things in psychology, I realized that actually there's different types of psychology preference of using our 4 basic intelligences, which is basically emotional, social, behavioral, and cognitive. We're all thinking, feeling, doing, and sensing, communicating people. And so how do we use those intelligences? Because in a way that creates this synergy. Because with synergy, then the sum of the parts become more, don't they? And so that's what we're after. So we can do that in meetings. So I already had a process for doing that. It's just that when you do it on technology, it's even better because there's more control. And that's what the kind of people do. 30%, basically it's split down. 60% say it's effective overall, technology, which it is, because it's cutting out all the hassle of having to go to a meeting and if you think of the costs and that kind of thing. However, some of them, about 30%, said the tiring. And so another 30% said it needs a process and facilitator. Well, I agree with all that. You need to spend less time online. I've got a process of doing that. Making great decisions. The reason why we don't make great decisions is because it's primarily run by the command and control. Command and control thinking, they tend to make the decisions. And so we miss out the social and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
How's that going to affect the system? So within this thing that I talk about, the mission power model, is this ecology check. I think that if every decision that was ever made had to have an ecology check, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in right now.
Looking at some of if I was a facilitator, so I'm running meetings, I'm being asked to run Zoom meetings, and I realised that as a facilitator of those meetings, of the manager, as the leader of it, I am so much more visible than I ever was before. What are you going to help me do? Because it's quite feasible. I don't want to be running these meetings, and I'm going to tell everyone that I'm really good at it. I'm going to tell everyone that I know what I'm doing. But actually, inside, the real truth is, I need some help. Yeah. What is it that you can give me? What are you going to help me do so I don't feel so out of control, or you're going to make me even more in control?
Well, what we're basically doing is teaching people to be able to facilitate meetings. And so that means leveraging the full potential of a group of people. Now, we've all got our different styles. So what I'll be doing, I'll be giving people hints and tips in the manual, in the explaining videos that come with it, and explaining the specific rules that you need to create this synergy within a group. And in order for people to become more familiar with that, so that they get used to using it, it's obvious with any skill, you need to practice it. And so part of the package is the fact that they can come and practice with me after they've had a period of time to go through the manual and look at the videos. We go through a workshop, and then they get some time, and then they come back one-to-one and get some feedback and coaching. So nice and simple, but with some support with it as well.
And when they're dealing with you with one-to-one coaching, how would you envisage, how long will that last, and what would they be doing in that?
It would literally be about 20-30 minutes. Basically, I tell them to create the documentation that they need, the agenda, what it is, what kind of decision that we're trying to achieve, and then we'll go through the process. You can use this as a coaching methodology as well. I use it as meetings, planning sessions, and coaching sessions. It's the same model. It's all about human communication.
So really, this isn't anything new to you. This is just something which you're offering what you're already doing out in a way that helps people sort out a problem with working on Zoom.
Yes.
Or whatever medium.
Yeah. As we've seen with the polls that we've done, that most people think they're tiring. And that's tiring. We've talked about the reasons why it's tiring. You're decoding continually. You're on display. If you're uncomfortable with being on display, you're more of an introverted type of person, it can be tiring for that reason. There's a variety of reasons why it's tiring, but the main way to cut down being tired is to make the meetings shorter and of more quality. So at the moment, they stand at about 50% effective. People think they're effective to 50-60%. The majority think they're effective, but they could be even more effective with a process, just with a simple set of rules.
Is there a way that people can actually ascertain whether or not a meeting is successful? How can they do that? Do you have any ideas for that?
Well, I talk about this infinite thinking loop, and that is basically after every meeting, they would fill out a feedback form. They can send the feedback form to the people that were in the meeting by email, and they can fill out their own feedback form. And they should be always continually looking at the path of excellence is basically just be better than you were the last meeting, and just fill out a feedback form, an after action review, after meeting review, and with that, what went right, what could be improved, and what will you do next time to facilitate that. And so your skill level will build up. You're not just doing the same thing over and over again. You're hoping to hone and refine the process as you go.